In the heart of a vast, burning desert, where golden sand stretched endlessly beneath a pale sky, a tiny seed lay buried deep beneath the surface. The sun blazed above with an unforgiving intensity, pouring down heat day after day, as though testing the strength of anything that dared to live there. Resting directly above that fragile seed was a heavy stone, pressing it firmly into the ground, allowing no easy escape. Inside that small seed, however, there was life, quiet but determined. It carried a dream. It wanted to grow. It wanted to rise above the sand, to feel the open air, to sway gently in the wind, and to stand proudly beneath the sunlight. That desire grew stronger with each passing day, until one day, the seed gathered all its strength and pushed upwards. But the stone above did not move. The seed tried again, this time with greater effort, straining with everything it had. Still, the stone remained exactly where it was, cold and unmoving. Days passed, and with each attempt, the seed grew more exhausted and disheartened. "This is pointless," the seed murmured to itself. "I am trapped. No matter how hard I try, I will never break free. Perhaps this is simply my fate." One quiet afternoon, as the desert lay still under the weight of the heat, a gentle breeze drifted across the sand. It moved softly, almost as though it carried a message. As it passed over the buried seed, it whispered, calm and steady, "Do not complain. Look downwards." The seed was confused. "Look downwards," it thought. "There is nothing beneath me but more sand. How could that possibly help?" But the words lingered in its mind. After a long silence, the seed began to wonder if perhaps it had been looking at its struggle the wrong way. "If I cannot move upwards," it thought slowly, "then perhaps I must find another path." And so, instead of continuing to push against the stone, the seed made a choice. It turned its effort in the opposite direction. It began to grow downwards. At first, the progress was slow. The soil beneath was dry and stubborn, resisting every inch of movement. The seed pushed carefully, sending out the smallest roots, feeling its way through the earth. Some days were harder than others. At times, the ground felt too solid, almost impossible to pass through. At other times, the dryness seemed endless, offering no reward for its effort. There were moments when doubt returned. What if this leads nowhere? The seed wondered. What if I am only wasting what little strength I have? Yet, each time that thought appeared, it remembered the whisper carried by the wind. "Do not complain. Look downwards." So it continued. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. Above the ground, nothing appeared to change. Anyone passing through the desert would see only an ordinary stone resting on lifeless sand. There was no sign of the quiet struggle taking place beneath. But below the surface, the seed was transforming. Its roots stretched deeper and wider, growing stronger with every challenge it faced. The deeper it went, the cooler the earth became, and the more the soil began to change. Then, after years of silent effort, something extraordinary happened. Its roots finally reached a hidden source of water, flowing quietly beneath the surface of the desert. The moment the roots touched that water, everything changed. A surge of strength filled the seed, stronger than anything it had ever felt before. It was no longer weak or uncertain. It was alive with energy, supported by something far greater than itself. With this new strength, the seed once again turned its attention upwards. The stone was still there, just as heavy and unmoving as before. But this time, the seed was different. It was no longer trying to force its way directly through the obstacle. Instead, it began to search patiently for another path. At the very edge of the stone, it noticed the smallest gap, barely visible, but enough to allow a chance. Carefully, the seed directed its growth towards that narrow opening. It did not rush. It moved steadily, with patience and quiet determination, pushing through the tiny space 1 inch at a time. Then one day, after all those years of struggle, the seed finally broke through to the surface. But it was no longer just a weak sprout. It emerged strong, supported by deep and powerful roots that stretched far beneath the earth. Its stem stood firm, shaped by years of hardship and perseverance. As time passed, that small plant grew taller and stronger, eventually becoming a magnificent tree. Its branches reached confidently into the sky, and its leaves swayed gently in the desert wind. Beneath the surface, its roots spread deep and wide, anchoring it securely to the ground. Then, one day, a fierce storm swept across the desert. The sky darkened, and powerful winds tore through the sand with great force. Smaller plants were ripped from the ground and carried away. Others snapped under the pressure, unable to withstand the storm's strength. But the tree stood firm. The wind bent its branches, but it could not break them. The storm pushed against it with all its might, yet the tree remained standing, unshaken. And the reason was simple. Its roots were deep, far deeper than anything the storm could reach. And what had forced those roots to grow so deep? The very same stone that once seemed like its greatest enemy. In life, people often find themselves facing obstacles that feel impossible to overcome. Challenges, failures, and hardships can seem like barriers that block every path forward. It is easy to feel trapped, just as the seed once did. But sometimes, those very obstacles are guiding us in ways we do not immediately understand. When one path is closed, it does not mean the journey has ended. It may simply mean that growth must happen in a different direction, deeper, stronger, and more meaningful. Those who continue to move forward, even when progress is slow and unseen, are the ones who build true strength. They develop resilience, patience, and inner stability that cannot be easily shaken. And when the storms of life finally arrive, they stand firm, supported by everything they have built beneath the surface. So when you find yourself facing a heavy stone in your life, do not be quick to see it as a burden. It may be the very reason you grow strong enough to withstand whatever lies ahead. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to get more interesting videos, then don't forget to subscribe my channel and stay tuned.